welcome back to the channel. And if you're new, welcome. Glad to have you here. This is actually Chris's granite paradise, but I'm not in granite paradise right now. I am in close proximity to the Yellowstone River in Montana, in Laurel, Montana to be exact. And today we're doing something a little different. You may wonder why, if I'm so close to the Yellowstone, why don't I just go to the Yellowstone? But I'm doing an urban rock hunt today here in this neighborhood where I'm staying. There is a beautiful drainage area, and look at all these rocks. It's a lot of rocks, and the rocks around the pond area are actually quite large. So this is meant to catch storm runoff so the neighborhood doesn't flood. Okay, why are we doing an urban rock hunt? I like to do this because usually these rocks are quarried or mined in gravel pits that obviously are not on the river. That would be quite illegal. So they're up in the hills in ancient deposits from when the river was much higher up and in a different location. And therefore, we can assume bringing down a different mix of gravel. So I like to look in these places because though most of the rocks are similar, many are not. And the cons to doing this kind of rock hunt is that you really can't take anything home for obvious reasons. Somebody paid money for these rocks, so we don't want to be walking off with them. So I really like the idea of finding some different things. I looked around here yesterday briefly, and I noticed a number of things, and I'm kind of trying to walk slow, see what you guys think. I did not find any agates or petrified wood, very few porphyries or volcanic rocks, a lot of dark granites, a lot of, just mostly granitic type rocks. Seeing like this small gravel might be from one location and the large from another. I'm going to concentrate on the big stuff today. But I'd be curious to see, those of you familiar with the Yellowstone, what you see different, what you see similar. For example, this, I call these kind of a greenish, high quartz content granitic rock. There's a lot of this in the Yellowstone. If you go down to the river, you can find these. And so we'll see some stuff that's similar and hopefully find a few that are different that I can show you guys. Very common material. I did some research on the Beartooth uplift, and I read some descriptions of the oldest rock that's in that uplift, which is almost 3 billion years old. And I think this is it. I think this is the material they're talking about. And I believe they called it a granodiorite. This is a pretty nice chunk of it. Here you can really see the green. Just a light green. To me, it looks like a lot of quartz. But I could be wrong. Oh wow, here's a very nice banded basalt. Nice contrasting. I would almost say this is basalt with rhyolite. Remember that in nature there are no, or in geology there aren't really absolutes. It's not like rhyolite and then there's basalt. Basically, rhyolite is one end of a spectrum and basalt is the more mafic end of the spectrum. And of course they mix. So this to me looks like a nice, as it was flowing along. We either have rhyolite with basalt, kind of variations within the flow, or we could be seeing some of what goes on with the Bowen's reaction series, where as minerals begin to solidify, it changes the remaining magma or lava. So it just depends how you interpret it. Could be that these are in the Yellowstone, but I really don't remember seeing them. This is just a basalt. It's interesting to see the rind, you know, because these were dumped here by machines. Some of them are broken, obviously. But the rind is really a light color. And some of them, here's another one with a chip on it. This one has, and I found a bunch of these last night. I would say they're one of the more common rocks here. And it's a basalt that has a very rough rind. It feels like coarse sandpaper. So much so that when you spray it, the water seems to fairly quickly soak in. Some more than others. But I like how the rind is almost a very light gray and then the inside is a jet black. I keep hoping to find obsidian, because obsidian kind of does this, where it gets a rind on it and then it's black glass inside. So when I first started finding this, I was like, oh wow, is that obsidian? But no, it's not. It's just basalt. This is probably a diorite or something along those lines. It's very hard, but look at the green. Green is really green. And then right next to it, a nice banded basalt. Just nice. And this is that, again, that basalt with the really rough rind on it. So it's probably black inside, and just the way it weathers gives it those colors. Let's see what they look like wet. Okay, now the sun is out. This sparkles a little bit, not much. You petrologists out there might be interested in this kind of material. Oh wow, I only noticed this because I got some spray on it. That's a nice green rock too. Maybe green basalt. Nice. Be nice to come here on a rainy day. I got excited when I saw this. At first I thought it was a pudding stone. I thought it was one of those really dense pudding stones. But it appears that it's one of those granodiorites that I was referring to earlier. Just a very coarse version of it. But yeah, I mean the crystals, the white or the lighter colored light green crystals are surrounded by the black rather than the black surrounded by the green. So that's why it gives it the pudding stone look. I mentioned earlier about this being a very different mix of rocks. Here's the first piece of quartz that I'm finding. And it's nothing spectacular, just a piece of milky quartz. Has a scrape from the machine on there. But there is some quartz around here. I would have to say that compared to hunting along the Yellowstone, there are very few of these here. I'm showing this one because I just want to show that they do exist in this gravel deposit. What I believe is a rhyolitic porphyry. Sometimes the rectangles are really huge. I'm hoping to find one of those. Look at this little gem. This is kind of like a unakite, except it doesn't have the pink, but I can see the rectangular white feldspars are reflecting, and the rest of the matrix is green. So maybe an epidosite, although I believe epidosite is quartz and epidote. So this is a unique piece. Yeah, it blends in with the grass when you get it wet. Yeah, that's a nice rock right there. See, there's one of the large feldspar crystals. I guess the feldspar is a little pink, so we could probably safely call this a unakite. Oh wow, guys, I think this is another one of those unique rhyolites with like dendrites in it. Oh boy, that's a nice one. Yeah, sometimes these have very unique patterns. I remember as a kid we would call these DNA rocks, but this one's got a very, very vibrant pattern. Covered with dirt, unfortunately. Yeah, really nice dendritic pattern. Let's get it wet. I flew here and only brought a carry-on bag, so I'm really handicapped as far as taking any rocks home. We're gonna go to the river later, and there I'll be able to collect. And I'll probably beseech my friend Art if I can pile some rocks up at his house. This is another one that if I were at the actual river where I could take them home, I'd probably take this one. Very solid, no cracks. Almost a leopard-like pattern. Nice. Okay, this is for you petrologists out there. So as I think I mentioned that the porphyries seem to be a little less common in this mix, but I am finding them. And this one, this is even kind of rare in the Yellowstone. I don't find them every time I go, but I do find them. And this is where you have the black, if the sun were out, these black needles would be very reflective. And we have a broken surface to look at. It's almost a green color. It's just interesting to see how a mix varies. There's another interesting porphyritic I wouldn't have seen unless I got it wet. Nope, that's actually a granite. A granitoid, we'll call it. So I think I mentioned that the advantages of an urban rock hunt is that you get to see a different mix of gravel. And of course it's easy to get to. The street is literally right there. And the cons are that you really shouldn't be taking stuff home. But that, I have not found one hint of any agate or petrified wood, as well as several other varieties that I consider common in the Yellowstone, and I have not found them at all here. So I still think it's natural. I doubt anybody came and literally picked up every last agate and petrified wood. There'd be at least something left over. This is mostly granitic. There are volcanic rocks here, but I would say a much lower percentage than what we see at the river. You guys who are familiar with the river, let me know what you think. It's interesting how the gravel coming down from the current mountains is probably different than the gravel that came down from the mountains as they were, well, let's say 1 million years ago. It changes over time. So I like this. You know, I think my new way of rock collecting, of course when I can, I still like, I'm always gonna hoard rocks, but collecting on video is really nice. It's amazing how light these are. And I get to share them with anybody in the world who wants to see them. But Art, if you're watching this, this is, I believe, one of those quartz breccias that we always say is so hard to saw through. Not sure if that's what it is, because this is way smoother. It's almost perfectly smooth. You can't feel, nothing's pitted out, so you can't feel bumps or pits really. Very nice pattern. You petrologists and geologists, what do you make of this material? Again, it's common enough along the river that we do find it. I just don't know what it might be. One person told me years ago that it's kind of related to jade. That might be why it's so hard to saw. But I don't know enough about jade, so I can't confirm or deny that. Yikes, I can't even pick it up. Yeah, that's a nice big rock. Dirty on the bottom. Let's see what we can see. That really doesn't show without scrubbing it off. I never get enough of these banded basalts. I'm not sure why, but I love them. Look at that hard layer in there. The only reason I say they're basalts, like this could just as easily be a sandstone, but they often have swirls in them, and sandstone usually doesn't have swirls. Although this is a mystery one, because it really looks like sandstone. Maybe sandstone with layers of a harder material such as limestone, perhaps? Yeah, because they're almost too straight to be basalt. I thought it was basalt when I picked it up. That's how it is when you go rock hunting. Every one is a challenge to figure out. This rock may interest some of you. I thought it was a basalt, but it's got some black veins going through it. Not sure if you can see those there. Very fine black lines. And then look on the these broken edges are jet black. And then this broken edge has begun to oxidize. And you see it broke almost along one of those black lines. But look at the pattern in there. And it's extremely fine grained. Almost like it's not quartzite because it doesn't sparkle. I can't remember the name of, it's like between basalt and obsidian, very fine grained. Those of you who know about volcanics, tell me what you think. Let's see what it looks like wet. I have a feeling it'll just look black when I spray it. But let's try it. Oh. Nope, it still shows the color. There we go. Now you can see it good. Another rock I have not found even a hint of here yet, and those of you who hunt along the Yellowstone, you'll know what I mean. The red basalt with the black chunks in it, the red brecciated basalt. I thought this was one, but no, I think this is another one of those rhyolites with the dendritic patterns. Obviously not very dendritic, but quite red. Yeah, this is unique. It's a nice piece. Ugly on that side, but water brings it out. Yeah, it's definitely not a basalt breccia. It's either a rhyolite or maybe a quartzite or something. Boy, that's a nice white granite there. It's not common to see them that white. Try to film this while the sun is out for you guys. This is that basalt with the rind on it. You can see how coarse and pitted that is. Yeah, look at the basalt. It has black phenocrysts in it. Nice big one shining there. So it's some kind of a highly mafic basalt, but one that also erodes easily by chemical processes. Let's see if the water soaks in. Yeah, the water soaks right into it. See that it just disappears. Brecciated sandstone, it looks like. It's broken on the top here. Cool pattern though. There's a nice fault line here. You can see these layers continue again up here. And this is the first pudding stone I've come across. Definitely not what I would call a good one. It shows that it started to be around at whatever time this gravel was deposited. Any of us rockhounds who have spent much time looking in river rocks, you probably find the granites and gneisses, or really any kind of rock that have the green, bright green epidote veins going through them. And here's a good example that shows how thin those veins can be. Can you see the sunlight? I'm trying to hold it kind of in line with the sunlight, and how most of the green has chipped off. But it was definitely one of those veins. Here's the other half. Here's the other half of that rock we were just looking at. But I came down here to look at this. This is another one of those quartz breccias, I'm sure. Oh yeah. So these are common here. I've already found several. Those of you who have been to Granite Paradise, you might remember in my Yellowstone display, I have a huge sandstone that I polished all the way around, and it's got the cross bedding. It has a little more pattern than this, but look at the size of this. And I see cross bedding in here. It's a very faint pattern. There we go. So undoubtedly it's the same material from the same source. These are very common in the Yellowstone, and I've already seen some of them here, so that's good to know. Very similar. Let's see what else we can find. In fact, here's another one right here. Another one of that same sandstone material. Check this out, you fans of basalt. This is the good hard basalt. It's not the kind that's scratchy on the surface like sandpaper. This is smooth, kind of like what we find in Yellowstone. But look at the flow patterns on this. This is definitely one that if we were at the river or in a public place, I would want to take it home. That is nice. Get it in brighter light for you. Yep, that's a nice piece right there. Makes me imagine like a lava fall coming over a low cascade and kind of swirling in the pool as it was hardening. Let's see what it looks like wet. Let me get some. Yeah, wet, it's really cool. You can see the water does not soak into this like it does that other variety of basalt that I was showing you, which could also be banded. We found some banded ones, but the water soaks in. It's just a different chemical composition. Yeah, this is one of the nicer ones, nicer basalts of the day. Look at that Z. Zorro! I might be dating myself by saying that. I'm not sure. Spectacular piece of basalt. Wow. Remember the dendritic rhyolites that I think I mentioned one, and I said we used to call them DNA stones. Well, here's the classic DNA pattern. I think my brother and I came up with that name when we were teenagers. That's a nice big one. I can't even pick it up. Anyway, you get the idea. Looks like maybe bacteria in a petri dish. Oh, I don't want to bother her. There's a jumping spider there. Try to put it back how it was. Yeah, that's a nice example of that material. Let me cover her up so she's kind of protected. I love jumping spiders. Whether it be the spiders hibernating in those little web sacs or their eggs. Always want to preserve those. This is one of those very almost quartzite, but maybe still sandstone, similar to the ones I showed you a while ago that I have the big polished version. But this is one, not so much with layering, but with the red circles in it. Art, you have, if you're watching this, you have a beautiful example of this material. And you've given me a couple of them. This is a big one. Oh, I'm out of water. That's not good. I may need to go get more water and resume the hunt. But yeah, that's a nice piece. So this appears to be rhyolite, and the reason I say it's rhyolite and not sandstone is because of the flow banding, as we saw in the basalt that we were looking at a little while ago. Doesn't look like sedimentary layers as much as it does flow, but the color is interesting. It's yellow. So that would definitely be a rhyolite. Here's another one for you geologists. So I lived in Lavina for a couple of years on the Musselshell River. And this light-colored andesitic porphyry was very common in that river, or something similar to this. And it was full of these. In the case of the ones up there, they still had the chunks in them, which were black and very recessed. This one apparently is eroded completely out. Because I believe some of that drainage comes into the Yellowstone. The Musselshell really isn't that far north of here. So it doesn't surprise me to find a rock that is similar. We started over at that far corner, made our way all the way around. We looked at a lot of rocks today. Then here's the opposite corner, so we're a little more than halfway done. I may come back and do a part 2 to the video because there's still all of these rocks to go. And I keep finding nice surprises, so it's worth the hunt. I think I've got some nice pieces for you guys to enjoy. Again, this has been an urban rock hunt in Laurel, Montana. Very enjoyable, nice day. No wind, it's about 60 degrees. Oh, look at that. That's just a nice. It's a nice though. But I'm out of water. So if we do a part 2, you guys will be the first to know. I hope you've enjoyed this. I look forward to your comments, suggestions. God bless you guys. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.